At 11 on a Tuesday in March, when I had finished sorting the morning mail into nuisance, vanity, and bills Wolfe would ignore, the front bell rang in a way no civilized person would use. One long buzz, too short, then another long one. Since the door is reserved in its habits, I went. The woman outside was around 35, dressed well and wearing fear badly. Her hat had started straight and arrived crooked. One glove was buttoned wrong. She held a leather portfolio against her side. "I must see Nero Wolfe at once," she said. I told her that urgency was common on our stoop. "Name?" "Clara Vane. He'll want to hear me." That one doesn't work on me. I'd started to say so when she leaned in and said, "A man has stolen something from me, and he can lock a door from the outside while he is still inside the room." That bought her the hall. I took her coat, put her in the office, and informed Wolfe, who was behind his desk. "A woman named Clara Vane," I said, nervous and possibly touched. "She claims a man can lock a door from the outside while standing inside the room." Wolfe opened his eyes. "Archie, that sentence is defective." "So is her problem," he grunted. That meant I could bring her in. She entered carefully. Wolfe inclined his head. She sat without waiting to be invited. "Mr. Wolfe," she said, "I can't go to the police. If I do, I may be ruined. If I do nothing, I may be ruined differently." "That is not uncommon," Wolfe said. "Confine yourself to facts." She drew a breath. "My brother Julian and I own a firm called Vane and Collier. We broker private acquisitions for collectors, manuscripts, correspondence, personal archives. 3 days ago, a document was taken from my office safe. It was not entered in our books. Very few people knew it existed." Wolfe's eyes narrowed. "Then why call it theft?" "Because it was mine." "Legally?" "No," she went on. "Yesterday morning I found my office door locked. That was normal. What was not normal was that the key was on my desk, inside the room. I opened the door with my key. The safe had been opened. Nothing else had been touched. I got out my notebook. Anyone else have a key? There are 2. Mine and one in the inner drawer of my brother's desk. His was still there." Wolfe said, "A locked room puzzle is usually produced by fools or novelists." "Continue." Her chin tightened. "Last evening I confronted the man I believe took the document. Adrian Sloane. He advises one of our clients and has taken too much interest in our affairs for months. I accused him. He denied it. Then he smiled and said I should stop imagining impossible tricks. I had said nothing about a trick. I asked, "Then what?" He said, "A door can be locked from the outside while one stands within. It only requires preparation." Then he left. "And you let him?" She looked at me evenly. "I was alone after hours with a man who knew I possessed something I should not possess and implied he could enter my office whenever he pleased. Yes, I let him." Wolfe made a small sound of disgust. "What was the document?" She rested a hand on the portfolio but didn't open it. But a packet of letters written in 1918 by Horace Bevinge to a woman who was not his wife. They contain admissions which, if published, would destroy the public career of his grandson. "Who is the grandson?" I asked. She hesitated. "Matthew Bevinge," she said, "the Reform candidate for governor." That landed without noise. Political scandal, concealed papers, private theft, and a locked door with the key inside. It was enough to explain why she'd come to us. Wolfe closed his eyes. "Miss Vane," he said, "if I accept this matter, you will answer every question truthfully, including those that discredit you. You will do nothing without informing me. You will pay my fee. If you withhold, embroider, or panic, you will leave and stay gone. Is that understood?" She tightened her grip on the portfolio until the leather creaked. "Yes." "Good. Now Archie will begin with your office, your brother, and Mr. Adrian Sloane." Meanwhile, tell me why you are more afraid of those letters being found than of the man who took them." Her composure slipped. She looked from Wolfe to me and back again. "Because," she said, "I don't believe Adrian Sloane took them for money. I believe he took them to force me to open another door, and if I do, a man who died 20 years ago will be proved innocent of treason to him." Wolfe's eyes opened again, and this time they stayed open. That was as close as he came to leaning forward. "Explain that sentence," he said. Clara Vane swallowed. "The letters refer to a meeting, one that took place in late October of 1918. They describe a private exchange of information between Horace Bevan and a man named Elias Rourke. Rourke was later accused of passing military intelligence to the Germans. He died before trial. The charge was never formally proven, but it destroyed his family. If those letters are read in full context, they suggest Rourke was not a traitor. He was passing false information on instructions. "From whom?" I asked. "That is the problem," she said. "The letters don't name the source, but they imply Bevan knew." Wolfe said, "And Mr. Adrian Sloane wishes you to produce a second document that identifies the source." "Yes." "And you possess such a document?" "No." She hesitated again, then corrected herself. "Not directly." "That is not a distinction I tolerate," Wolfe said. "You either possess it or you do not." "I know where it is," she said. "That will suffice," Wolfe said. Continue." "It is part of a private archive, one we were asked to locate but never officially acquired. If I retrieve it and give it to Sloane, he will have enough to rewrite the story of Elias Rourke and destroy Matthew Bevan's campaign at the same time. If I refuse, I believe he will expose the letters I already had. Either way, I'm ruined. And my brother as well." I said, "Your brother knows about all this." "He knows about the letters," she said. "He does not know about the second document or about Sloane's demand." Wolfe turned his head slightly toward me. "Archie." "On it," I said. I stood. Clara Vane rose too. "I'll need the address of your office," I said, "and your brother's habits. Also Adrian Sloane's address, business and personal. Has any other names that might matter?" She opened the portfolio and handed me a sheet already prepared. That told me she had expected to be believed. I respected that. "Anything else?" I asked. She looked at Wolfe. "Will you take the case?" Wolfe steepled his fingers. "I've taken it." She exhaled for the first time since she'd arrived. "Then I'll be in my office," she said. "I won't speak to Sloane again unless you instruct me to." "You will not," Wolfe said. "Archie will report." She nodded and left. When the door closed, I turned to Wolfe. "So, a locked door, a missing document, political blackmail, and a dead man who might not have been a traitor." Wolfe grunted. "And a client who lies by omission." "Only about the second document." "Only," he said with weight. I picked up my hat. "Where do you want me first?" "Her office. And examine the door, the lock, the safe. Speak with her brother, then Mr. Sloane, if convenient. Observe. Do not conclude." "I never do," I said. "That is untrue," he said. "You conclude frequently. You are often correct." I left before he could improve the compliment. Vane and Collier occupied a narrow building on East 57th with a discreet brass plate and a receptionist who looked like she had been trained to detect dishonesty at 20 paces. She passed me through after I gave her my name. Clara Vane met me in a corridor and led me to her office without a word. It was neat, expensive, and arranged for someone who valued control. The desk was clear except for a blotter and a single pen. The safe stood behind a panel, currently open and empty. "That's it," she said. I went to the door first. Standard lock, good quality, no visible tampering. I tried it from the inside. It worked exactly as it should. I checked the frame, the hinges, the strike plate. Nothing clever. No wires, no hidden springs. You said the key was on your desk, I said. Yes. Where? She pointed to a spot near the blotter. I looked. Nothing special. Anyone clean here at night? No one enters without permission. Which means someone does, I said. She didn't answer. I moved to the safe. Also standard, also good. No marks, no signs of force. When did you last see the letters? I asked. The evening before. I locked them in the safe myself. And in the morning? The door was locked. The key was inside. The safe was open. The letters were gone. And nothing else disturbed. Nothing. I nodded. All right, let's meet your brother. Julian Vane was in the next room, sitting behind a desk that looked like it had been selected to make statements. He stood when I entered, which I liked. Mr. Goodwin, he said, my sister tells me you're assisting. I assist, I said. You object? Not if you're effective. That depends on cooperation, I said. He smiled thinly. Ask. Your key to Clara's office, I said. Where is it kept? In my desk. Locked. Who has access? No one but me. Anyone could have copied it? No. I watched him. He believed that, or wanted to. What about Adrian Sloane? I asked. His smile vanished. What about him? He's interested in your business. He's interested in his client's interests. That's his job. Does he have access to your offices? Not alone. Has he been here after hours? No. I let that sit. You're sure? Yes. I nodded. All right. One more. So do you know anything about a man named Elias Rourke? That got a reaction. Not much, but enough. A flicker. No, he said. Should I? Maybe, I said. Thanks for your time. I left him and went back to Clara. Your brother is either very careful or very uninformed, I said. He's both, she said. Good combination, I said. Now I'm going to see Adrian Sloane. She stiffened. Be careful. I always am, I said, and went out to see a man who could lock a door from the outside while standing inside it. Adrian Sloane's office was on Madison, the kind of address that suggests discretion while charging extra for it. The building had a uniformed man at the desk who knew how to look without staring, and a directory that didn't list Sloane's name in anything so vulgar as bold letters. I gave mine, was weighed, and was permitted upstairs. That Sloane received me in a room that had been arranged to imply comfort without ever delivering it. There were 2 chairs that looked agreeable until you sat in them, a desk that kept its distance, and shelves with books that had never been opened all the way. Sloane himself was tall, narrow, and polished. He rose when I entered, which I appreciated, and extended a hand that had been trained not to perspire. Mr. Goodwin, he said, to what do I owe the pleasure? I'm working for Miss Vane, I said. She mentioned you. I'm sure she did. His smile was small and neat. Please sit. I sat in the agreeable-looking chair and confirmed it was not. She believes you took something from her office. Belief is a generous word, he said. I think she suspects. She also thinks you know how to lock a door from the outside while standing inside the room. That got a flicker. Not surprise. Interest. Did she tell you that? He asked. She told me you told her, I said. He considered that. Then I suppose I did. You want to explain it? No, he said. Do you want me to? Eventually, I said. But first I want to know why you said it. He walked to the window, not to look out, but to turn his back without being rude. Miss Vane is in possession of material that does not belong to her, he said. I suggested that she consider the consequences of holding such material insecurely. Insecurely, I said. Her office was locked. So she tells me. And the key was inside, I said. Yes, he said. So she tells me. You don't believe her? I believe she found what she found, he said. I do not accept her conclusions. Then give me yours. He turned back. My conclusion is that Miss Vane is under pressure and is attempting to convert anxiety into a puzzle she can solve. People do that. It's comforting. You didn't answer my question. No, he said. I did not. I let that sit a moment. What's your interest in her business? I advise a client who has engaged Vane and Collier, he said. I ensure that the client's interests are protected. By visiting their offices after hours? I don't, he said. By threatening them with impossible tricks. I didn't threaten anyone, he said. I made an observation. Which was that a locked door proves less than people think it does. That's a line you've used before, I asked. Occasionally. I nodded. All right, let's try this another way. Do you know anything about a set of letters written in 1918 by Horace Bevan? His expression didn't change, but something behind it did. A tightening, quick and controlled. I know the name, he said. Bevan is difficult to avoid at the moment. These letters concern a man named Elias Rourke. He didn't answer. Ever heard of him? I said. Yes, he said. In passing. Passing what? He smiled again, just enough to show he had noticed the question and declined it. Mr. Goodwin, if you have something to ask me, ask it. If you intend to fish, I recommend a river. I'll remember that, I said. Here's the question. Did you take those letters? No. Do you know who did? No. Do you want them? Yes. That one came clean and quick. Why? I said. Because they are dangerous, he said. And because Miss Vane is not equipped to manage danger. Meaning you are. Meaning I'm less sentimental, he said. About what? About consequences. I stood. All right. I think that's enough for now. Already, he said. I like to leave before I get bored, I said. He inclined his head. Then allow me to assist you. You're looking for a mechanism, Mr. Goodwin. Something clever that explains a simple fact. You won't find it. Why not? Because the explanation is not clever, he said. It is merely inconvenient. For whom? I asked. For Miss Vane, he said. And if you persist, possibly for you. I put on my hat. I'll take that under advisement. I'm sure you will, he said. I left him there, polished and contained, then I went back downstairs with the feeling that I had been shown exactly as much as he wanted me to see, which wasn't nothing. Outside, the afternoon had settled into that grey stretch where the city looks like it's thinking about something unpleasant. I walked a block before deciding not to go back to the brownstone yet. There was one more place to look, and it had been sitting in my notebook since Clara Vane had opened her portfolio. A private archive, not officially acquired. A document she knew the location of, but didn't possess. If Sloane wanted it, and if the letters pointed to it, then it wasn't just a loose thread. It was the knot. The address she had given me was for a townhouse on the Upper West Side, owned by a widow named Mrs. Eleanor Rourke. That made the dead man with the treason charge a little less dead, and I hailed a cab and gave the driver the address. If the answer to the locked door wasn't clever, as Sloane had said, then it would be somewhere in the ordinary. A key, a habit, a mistake. Something overlooked because it didn't sparkle. But the reason for the theft, that was something else. That had edges, and I had a feeling I was about to meet one of them. Mrs. Eleanor Rourke's townhouse stood on a quiet block that had decided long ago it preferred memory to fashion. The stone steps were worn just enough to suggest history without admitting neglect. The brass knocker was polished. That told me two things. Someone still cared, and someone still expected visitors. The woman who opened the door was not a maid. She was too composed for that and too direct. Yes, she said. My name is Archie Goodwin, I said. I'd like a word with Mrs. Rourke. She looked at me for a full second, measuring. On what matter? On a man who was accused of treason and never had the chance to answer it, I said. That got me inside. The front room was quiet, the kind of quiet that doesn't come from absence but from decision. Heavy curtains, old furniture, a clock that ticked without apology. Mrs. Rourke sat near the window. She was older than I had expected, but not fragile. Her eyes were sharp and not inclined to waste effort. "You have a way with introductions," she said. "I try to earn my seat," I said. She gestured. I sat. "You mentioned treason," she said. "That word has been used in this house before. It is not welcome." "Neither is the truth sometimes," I said, "but it tends to arrive anyway." Her mouth tightened, not in anger, but in recognition. "Who sent you?" "Miss Clara Vane," I said. "She believes you have something that might change how that word applies to your husband." Her hands, resting in her lap, didn't move. That was control. "She should not have come to you," Mrs. Rourke said. "She didn't come to me," I said. "I came to her. That's the difference between trouble and its consequences." She considered that. "What do you want?" "I want to know what you have," I said. "And who else knows about it?" She looked at me steadily. "I have papers," she said. "My husband's papers. Some of them were returned to me after his death. Some were not. And the ones that were not were taken by men who had already decided what they meant," she said. "I was told they contained evidence of guilt. I was not allowed to see them. And now, she said, "I've been told that those papers say something else." "By Clara Vane," I said. "Yes." "And by anyone else?" There was a pause. Small, but there. "Yes," she said. "A man named Adrian Sloane." I nodded. "When did he come?" 2 days ago, she said. "He was polite. He said he wished to help me restore my husband's name. He asked to see my papers." "Did you show them to him?" "No." "Did he ask for anything specific?" "He asked if I had a letter dated October 23rd, 1918, she said. "I do not." "But you have something close." "I have a notebook," she said. "My husband's. It mentions a meeting on that date." "And the contents?" "He wrote that he had been instructed to pass information he knew to be false," she said. "He wrote that he was doing so to protect something larger than himself." "Did he say what?" "No." "Did he say who instructed him?" "No." "That's a lot of no," I said. "It is what I have," she said. "Where is the notebook?" "In this house," she said. "Where in this house?" She didn't answer. I leaned back. "Mrs. Rourke, a set of letters has been taken from Clara Vane's office. The man who wants your notebook may already have them. If he gets both, he can tell a story that will ruin one man and rehabilitate another. Depending on how he tells it, he might do both at once." "And you want to stop him," she said. "I want to understand him," I said. "Stopping comes after." She studied me again. "Why should I trust you?" "You shouldn't," I said. "But you should trust the fact that you're not the only one being approached." Her eyes sharpened. "What do you mean?" "I mean," I said, "that if Sloane came to you, he may have gone to someone else as well, someone with a different piece of the same story, someone who might not refuse him." "Who?" she said. "That's what I'm finding out," I said. She sat back slightly. "And what do you need from me?" "For now," I said, "nothing you're not willing to give. But I need you to keep that notebook exactly where it is. Don't move it, don't show it, don't mention it." "And if Mr. Sloane returns?" "Tell him no," I said, "and then call me." She nodded once. "Very well." I stood. "One more thing." "Yes?" "Your husband," I said. "Do you believe he was a traitor?" The question didn't surprise her. It had been waiting. "No," she said. "I believe he was used." "By whom?" "That," she said, is what your Miss Vane wants to know. And you, I said. Oh, I've lived with the answer for 20 years, she said. I would like to live without it. I left her there, in a room that had been holding its breath for 2 decades, and stepped back out into the street. The pieces were starting to line up, but they didn't fit yet. Letters pointing to a meeting, a notebook confirming it, a missing document that named someone, and a man like Adrian Sloane moving between them, collecting edges. If he was right, and the explanation for the locked door was simple, then the complication wasn't in how the letters were taken, it was in why. I got back into a cab and headed for the brownstone. Wolfe would want the report, and he would want it complete. And I had the feeling that when I gave it to him, he would tell me something I hadn't asked, which was usually where the trouble really started. Wolfe was where I had left him, which is to say exactly where he preferred to be, behind his desk with the world arranged at a distance. The lamp was on, though it wasn't dark yet, and the orchids upstairs had clearly satisfied him because his expression was less hostile than usual. I gave him the report without decoration. Clara Vane's office, the door and the key, Julian's careful ignorance, Adrian Sloane's polished evasions, and Mrs. Rourke with her notebook and 20 years of waiting. Wolfe listened with his eyes closed, which meant he was paying attention. When I finished, he opened them. "You omitted nothing?" he asked. "Only my admiration for Sloane's furniture," I said. "Confine yourself to essentials," he said. "The furniture is not essential." "It was uncomfortable," I said. "Then it served its purpose," he said. "Now, we have 3 objects, letters, missing, a notebook, present, a third document, unlocated but known to Miss Vane, and we have Mr. Sloane, who desires all 3. "And a door that locked itself," I said. "No," Wolfe said. "A door that was locked by someone who wished it to appear that it had locked itself. There is a difference." "Simple," he said. I reminded him. "Yes," Wolfe said, "which is why you did not find it. You were looking for ingenuity." "I was looking for a way to get a key inside a room without opening the door," I said. "Precisely," Wolfe said. "And that is unnecessary." I sat. "All right, then what's necessary?" "A key," Wolfe said. "A lock and a sequence of events. The simplest explanation is that the door was locked from the outside and the key was later placed inside." "Through a keyhole?" I said. "No," Wolfe said. Through a person." I looked at him. "Meaning someone inside the office after it was locked?" "Or someone who entered after it was locked," Wolfe said. "With no sign of entry," I said. "With no sign that you recognized," Wolfe corrected. I let that pass. "You're thinking of the cleaning staff." "I'm thinking of access," Wolfe said. "Miss Vane asserts that no one enters without permission. That is either false or irrelevant. Offices are entered at night. Locks are opened. Keys are handled. Habits are exploited. So someone got in, opened the safe, took the letters, locked the door from the outside, and then later someone else, or the same someone, put the key on the desk," I said. "Yes," Wolfe said. "And the presence of the key is the point. It is not an obstacle, as it is a message." "What message?" "That Miss Vane's control of her own space is illusory," Wolfe said. "That is Mr. Sloane's theme." "Assuming he did it," I said. Wolfe's eyes flicked at me. "You doubt it?" "I don't like neat answers from men who won't give them," I said. "Then consider alternatives," Wolfe said. "Who else benefits?" I leaned back. "Julian Vane. If his sister is compromised, he might consolidate control of the business." "Possible," Wolfe said. "But does he have the imagination to stage a locked room illusion?" "He might have the access," I said. "Access is common," Wolfe said. "Imagination is not." "What about Mrs. Rourke?" I said. "She wants her husband cleared. If she knew about the letters." "She did not," Wolfe said. "And if she had, She would not have taken them only to conceal the act with a childish contrivance. Her motive is direct, not theatrical. Then Sloane, I said. Yes, Wolfe said. But not alone. I frowned. You think he had help? I think he required it, Wolfe said. He is not a burglar. He is an arranger. He moves people, not furniture. Then who's the furniture? I asked. Wolfe ignored that. Miss Vane's office was entered without force. The safe was opened without damage. Either the perpetrator had a key in the combination or he obtained them. The combination is not easily observed. Therefore, inside job, I said. Or an inside weakness, Wolfe said. A person who could be induced to provide what was needed. A clerk, a secretary, a guard. Someone overlooked because they are always present. I thought of the receptionist downstairs, the steady eyes, the trained look. There's a woman at the front desk, I said. Sharp, not too sharp to miss much. Then she has seen much, Wolfe said. You will speak with her again. Tomorrow, I said. No, Wolfe said. Tonight. I checked my watch. They'll be closed. Which is when people are most themselves, Wolfe said. Go. I stood, but paused. What about the notebook? Wolfe's expression tightened. Mr. Sloane will return for it. He cannot complete his design without it. And Mrs. Rourke? She will refuse him, Wolfe said. For a time. Should we do something about that? Yes, Wolfe said. We will. He reached for the phone. Who are you calling? I asked. Mr. Saul Panzer, Wolfe said. I prefer to know where Mr. Sloane is when he is not being observed by you. I nodded. That meant the temperature had risen. Archie, Wolfe said as I reached the door. Yeah? Do not confront, he said. Observe. The pattern is nearly visible. Do not obscure it with enthusiasm. I'll try to restrain myself, I said. Try harder, he said. I left him there, dialing, and went back out into the evening. The city had shifted gears. The light was thinner, the people quicker, the shadows more interested. If Wolfe was right, and someone inside Vane and Collier had helped open that safe, then the locked door wasn't a trick, it was a signal. And signals are meant to be read. I headed back to 57th, looking for the person who had handled the key and decided to leave it behind. By the time I reached 57th again, the building had settled into its evening habits. The brass plate caught what little light was left, and the front door was locked, which was appropriate. I rang once, the civilized way, and waited. But the same receptionist opened the door. No surprise there. People like her don't leave until they've decided nothing more can happen. Mr. Goodwin, she said, the office is closed. I noticed, I said. That's why I'm here. She considered that, then stepped aside. Briefly, I went in. The lobby felt different without the day in it. Quieter, but not empty. Places like that hold on to things. What's your name? I asked. Miss Larkin, she said. Miss Larkin, I said. You've been here how long? 3 years. Long enough to know who comes and goes, I said. I know who signs in, she said. After hours, I said. When no one signs in. She didn't answer immediately. That was good. It meant she was choosing. I don't admit people after hours without authorization, she said. Authorization from whom? Mr. Vane, aren't either of them. Both of them, I said. Usually Miss Vane, she said. Usually, I said. Not always. No, she said. I nodded. Let's talk about not always. 3 nights ago. Her eyes flicked just once. That was enough. I was not on duty that evening, she said. Who was? Mr. Hargrove, she said. He handles building security. Where do I find him? Basement office, she said. But he's not here now. Where is he? I don't know, she said. I smiled at her. Miss Larkin, You've been very careful. That's good. But I'm not asking you to accuse anyone. I'm asking you to remember. Did anyone come in that night? She held my eyes, then looked past me for a second, like she was checking a memory against something fixed. Yes, she said. Who? A man, she said. Tall. Well-dressed. He said he had business with Miss Vane. Name? He didn't give one, she said. But I recognized him later. From where? From Mr. Vane's office, she said. He had been there during the day. Mr. Sloane. I nodded. That tracked. You let him in? Mr. Hargrove did, she said. He called up, but Miss Vane had already left. Mr. Sloane said it was urgent. And Mr. Hargrove let him go up, she said. Alone? Yes. For how long? About 40 minutes, she said. And when he left? He came down alone, she said. He thanked Mr. Hargrove and left. Did you see his hands? I asked. She frowned. His hands? Was he carrying anything? I said. No, she said. Nothing visible. I nodded. And after that? Nothing, she said. The building was quiet. Until morning, I said. Yes. I took that in. All right. Now tell me about Mr. Hargrove. He's been here longer than I have, she said. Reliable. Quiet. Too quiet, I said. She didn't answer. Where does he live? I asked. I don't know, she said. But he leaves at 10 most nights. I checked my watch. It was past that. Tonight, I said. He left early, she said. Around 8. Why? I don't know, she said again, and this time it sounded thinner. I stepped closer, not enough to crowd her, just enough to make the air shift. Miss Larkin, if Mr. Hargrove let Adrian Sloane into that office, and if something went missing that night, then Mr. Hargrove is part of this, whether he knows it or not. If he's been told to leave early, that's not routine, that's movement. Her jaw tightened. He received a call, she said. Before he left. From whom? I didn't hear the name, she said. But he seemed unsettled. Did he say anything? He said he had to take care of something, she said, and that he'd be back tomorrow. Will he? She hesitated. I don't know. I nodded. All right, you've been helpful. I didn't mean to be, she said. That's usually when it counts, I said. I left her there and went back out into the street. The pattern Wolfe had mentioned was starting to show. Sloane needed access. Hargrove provided it. The safe was opened. The letters were taken. The door was locked from the outside. And the key. The key was placed inside afterward, which meant someone had been in that office after Sloane left. Or someone had returned. I walked half a block before stopping. There was a detail that hadn't settled. 40 minutes. Long enough to open a safe, take a packet, and leave. And not long enough to stage something elaborate. Sloane had said the explanation wasn't clever. That fit. But the key on the desk? That was deliberate. That was a statement, and statements are made for audiences. I turned and headed for a phone. Wolfe would want this immediately. He picked up on the second ring. Yes. It's me, I said. Sloane was in the office that night. Got in through Hargrove. Stayed 40 minutes. Left clean. Of course, Wolfe said. And Hargrove got a call tonight and left early, I said. Unsettled. Also, of course, Wolfe said. I frowned. You were expecting that? I was expecting movement, Wolfe said. Mr. Sloane's design is nearing completion. He will not leave loose ends. Hargrove is a loose end, I said. Yes, Wolfe said. You want me to find him? No, Wolfe said. No. No, he said. Now you will go to Mrs. Rourke's house. I straightened. Why? Because Mr. Sloane will be there, Wolfe said. Tonight? Yes. And Hargrove may already be involved, Wolfe said. Or may be irrelevant. The notebook is the objective. Mr. Sloane will not delay. I looked at the street, the shadows stretching longer now. You're sure? I'm rarely certain, Wolfe said, but I am sufficiently persuaded. Then I'm on my way, I said. Archie, Wolfe said before I could hang up. Yeah? Observe, he said again. Do not interfere unless necessary. I'll try, I said. Do not try, he said. Do. He hung up. I put the receiver down and headed for a cab. If Sloane was moving tonight, and if Wolfe was right about the pattern, then the next piece was about to fall into place, and I intended to be there when it did. The cab let me out a half block from Mrs. Rourke's townhouse. I paid, told the driver not to wait, and walked the rest of the way with my pace set to ordinary. There's no advantage in arriving like a headline unless you want to be read that way. The street was quiet in the way that means someone is listening. One light burned in the front room of the Rourke house, the same one I'd seen earlier. No movement at the windows, no car idling at the curb. That didn't mean much. Men like Sloane didn't need to advertise. I went up the steps and didn't knock. I used the bell once and waited. The door opened after a count of 5. Mrs. Rourke stood there, composed but not surprised. Mr. Goodwin, she said, you return quickly. I had reason, I said. Is he here? There was a flicker in her eyes this time. Not fear, decision. Yes, she said. Sir, he arrived 10 minutes ago. May I come in? Sir, you may, she said. I stepped inside. The air felt different from before, tighter, like a room that had been asked a question and hadn't answered yet. Where is he? I asked. In the study, she said. He asked to see the notebook again. And you? I told him no, she said. He insisted. That sounds like him, I said. She watched me. What do you intend to do? Listen, I said. For now. She nodded and led me down the hall. The study door was closed, but voices carried. Sloane's, smooth and measured. Hers, steady. You're allowing sentiment to dictate action, Sloane was saying. That is understandable, but it is not useful. My husband's name is not a matter of utility, Mrs. Rourke said. No, Sloane said. It is a matter of narrative. So narratives can be corrected. By whom? She said. By those with access to the facts, he said. And you have them? She asked. I have enough, he said. With your cooperation, I can have the rest. There was a pause. I glanced at Mrs. Rourke. She didn't move. And if I refuse, she said. Then others will not, Sloane said. That is a threat, she said. No, he said. It is an observation. I had heard that line before. He liked it. I eased the door open a fraction, enough to see without being seen. Sloane stood near the desk, hands lightly resting on its edge. Mrs. Rourke sat across from him, her back straight. Between them, the space felt like a line neither had crossed yet. The notebook, Sloane said, is incomplete. It suggests intention but lacks confirmation. The letters Miss Vane possessed provided context. Together, they form a picture. Which you wish to control, she said. Which I wish to clarify, he said. For whom? For those who matter, he said. And who are they? She asked. He smiled slightly. That depends on the outcome. I pushed the door open and stepped in. For the record, I said, I matter. Sloane turned. No surprise this time. He took me in, adjusted, and nodded. Mr. Goodwin, he said. You're early. I like to keep ahead of the story, I said. Mind if I sit in? Not at all, he said. We were just discussing history. Funny thing about history, I said. It doesn't change, but the people telling it do. Exactly, he said. Which is why it must be handled carefully. I took a chair near the door. Let's skip the philosophy and get to the point. You want the notebook. You've already got the letters. He looked at me. and then for a moment the polish slipped just enough to show something underneath. Not guilt, not fear. Calculation. You assume much, he said. I assume you had access, I said. I assume you used it. I assume you left the key on the desk to make a point. Mrs. Rourke glanced at me. Sloane's eyes stayed on mine. And what point would that be? He asked. That Miss Vane isn't as secure as she thinks, I said. That you can reach into her world and rearrange it. He considered that. Not a bad reading, he said. Thanks, I said. Now here's mine. You needed those letters to confirm what you already suspected from this notebook. You needed both to build a story, and you need one more piece to finish it. The source, he said. Exactly, I said. The person who told Rourke to pass false information. And you think I know who that is, he said. I think you do, I said. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. He straightened slightly. And you think Miss Vane can provide that answer? I think she knows where to find it, I said. Mrs. Rourke spoke. She told you that? She told Wolfe, I said. Which is the same thing. Sloane's gaze sharpened at that. Nero Wolfe, he said. I had wondered when he would enter the narrative. He's been in it from the start, I said. You just didn't notice. I notice what matters, he said. Then notice this, I said. You're running out of time. For what? He asked. For control, I said. You've got pieces, but not the whole. And the people you're using, Hargrove, for instance, are starting to move in ways you didn't plan. That landed. Not hard, but enough. Hargrove, he said. You've been busy. I get around, I said. He looked at me for a long second, then nodded slightly as if confirming something to himself. Very well, he said. Since we are all here, perhaps we should simplify matters. I'm all for that, I said. He turned back to Mrs. Rourke. Madame, I will be direct. The notebook you possess is one part of a larger record. The letters I have obtained are another. The final piece is a memorandum held in a private archive, one that Miss Vane has access to. Mrs. Rourke's hands tightened slightly. With all three, Sloane continued, I can demonstrate that your husband was acting under instruction, that he was not a traitor. And in doing so, she said, you will destroy Matthew Beving. Yes, Sloane said, because the instruction came from his grandfather. The room held that for a moment. I said, so that's the game. Clear one name, ruin another. It is not a game, Sloane said. It is correction. Of what? I said. Of a lie that has persisted for 20 years, he said. And you're the man to fix it, I said. I am the man who can, he said. Mrs. Rourke looked at him. At what cost? At the cost of truth, he said, which is always paid by someone. I stood. That's where Wolfe comes in, I said. Sloane's eyes flicked to me. Meaning? Meaning, I said. He doesn't like it when someone else decides who pays. Sloane held my eyes for a moment after I said it, and I could see him making the adjustment. Not retreating, not advancing, rebalancing. He was good at that. Nero Wolfe, he said, almost thoughtfully. A man who prefers order. Ah, I respect that. He prefers accuracy, I said. Order comes with it. And you believe he will object to my conclusions, Sloane said. I believe he'll object to your method, I said. You're arranging facts to produce an effect. He prefers facts that produce themselves. That is a distinction without a difference, Sloane said. Not to him, I said. Mrs. Rourke spoke quietly. Gentlemen, if this is to become a debate about philosophy, I would prefer you take it elsewhere. Sloane inclined his head. Of course. Madam, I apologize. He turned back to me. Mr. Goodwin, since you have made your position clear, allow me to make mine equally so. I intend to obtain the final document, with or without Miss Vane's cooperation." "That sounds familiar," I said. "It should," he said. "I have been consistent." "Consistently inconvenient," I said. Well, he almost smiled. "Inconvenience is often a precursor to clarity." "And sometimes to arrest," I said. "That depends on who is telling the story," he said. I let that go. "All right, let's talk about the locked door." Mrs. Rourke glanced at me again. Sloane's attention sharpened. "Must we?" he said. "Yes," I said, "because it tells me how you operate, and I like to know that before I decide what to do next." He considered, then nodded slightly. "Very well, ask." "You entered Miss Vane's office with Hargrove's help," I said. "You had access to the safe, either the combination or someone who knew it. You took the letters, then you locked the door from the outside." "Yes," he said. "And the key," I said. "You didn't leave it on the desk when you left. You couldn't. The door was locked." "No," he said. "So someone else put it there," I said. "Until after you left." "Yes," he said again. Mrs. Rourke leaned forward slightly. "You admit this?" "I admit the mechanics," Sloane said. "Not the interpretation." I nodded. "So who put the key on the desk?" Sloane looked at me, and this time there was no deflection. "Mr. Hargrove." I felt it click. "He went back up after you left," I said. "Yes," Sloane said. "At my request." "To do what?" "To confirm that nothing had been disturbed," he said, "and to leave the key where it would be found." "Why?" Mrs. Rourke asked. Sloane turned to her. "Because Miss Vane believes in control. It was necessary to demonstrate that her control was compromised." "That's not demonstration," she said. "That's intimidation." "It is both," he said. I said, "You used Hargrove." "I employed him," Sloane said. "There is a difference." "Not to Hargrove," I said. Sloane's gaze flicked back to me. "You are concerned for him." "I'm concerned for anyone who thinks they're a tool and finds out they're disposable," I said. Sloane didn't answer that. I went on. "So Hargrove goes back up, uses the key, enters the office, puts the key on the desk, and leaves. Door locks behind him." "Yes," Sloane said. "Simple," I said. "Precisely," he said. "And now he's nervous," I said, "because he's realized what he's part of." "Possibly," Sloane said, "or because he's been made aware of consequences." "For whom?" I asked. "For anyone who interferes," he said. I held his eyes. "Including him." "Especially him," Sloane said. That settled that. Mrs. Rourke spoke again, her voice firmer now. "This is intolerable. You have manipulated people, entered offices, taken property, and now you stand here and explain it as if it were a lesson." "It is a lesson," Sloane said. "One that should have been learned long ago." "And what is that?" she demanded. "That truth does not protect itself," he said. "It requires intervention." "And you are the intervention," she said. "Yes," he said. I stood up. "All right, that's enough for me." Sloane looked at me. "You're leaving?" "For now," I said. "I've got what I came for." "And what is that?" he asked. "Your pattern," I said. "You don't just collect facts. You stage them. You arrange people to reveal what you want revealed." "And?" he said. "And that means you're predictable," I said. He raised an eyebrow. "In what way?" "In the way that matters," I said. "You think you're in control because you have the pieces. Aye, but you still need Miss Vane to open that last door." "And she will," he said. "Maybe," I said, "but not on your terms." "And whose?" he asked. I smiled slightly. "Wolfe's." He held my gaze, and for the first time there was a trace of something that wasn't calculation. Not fear. Not yet. But recognition. "That would be inconvenient," he said. "For you," I said. I turned to Mrs. Rourke. "Keep the notebook where it is. Don't show it. Don't move it." "I won't," she said. "And if he comes back?" She looked at Sloane, then back at me. "He won't," she said. I nodded. "Good." I headed for the door. Behind me, Sloane said, "Mr. Goodwin." I stopped but didn't turn. "Yeah?" "You believe Mr. Wolfe can prevent this," he said. "I believe he can change it," I said. "That is not the same thing," he said. "No," I said, "so it's better." I left them there, Sloane with his structure, Mrs. Rourke with her memory, and stepped back out into the night. The pieces were in place now, the letters, the notebook, the missing memorandum. Sloane's method, Hargrove's role, Clara Vane's leverage. All that remained was the positioning, and Wolfe was very good at that. I got to a phone and called the brownstone. "Yes, Archie," Wolfe said. "He's got the letters," I said. "He used Hargrove to stage the key. He's after the final document, and he's not waiting." "I expected no less," Wolfe said. "And he admitted it," I said. "Not everything, but enough." "Good," Wolfe said. "Admissions are useful when they are not understood by the speaker." I smiled. "You've got something." "Yes," Wolfe said. "Return at once. We will invite our participants." "All of them?" I said. "All," Wolfe said. "It is time to conclude." I hung up and headed for a cab. The game, if that's what Sloane wanted to call it, was about to move into Wolfe's office. And once it did, there wouldn't be any more rearranging the pieces, only placing them where they belonged. By the time I got back to the brownstone, Wolfe had already set the stage, which is his preferred form of exercise. The office was in order, the chairs arranged with more intention than comfort, and the beer in the drawer had been replaced by coffee, which meant we were working. "Report," he said as I entered. I gave it to him clean and straight, including Sloane's admissions, Hargrove's role, and the confirmation that the letters were in Sloane's possession. Wolfe listened without interruption, his fingers pressed together, his eyes half-lidded. When I finished, he nodded once. "It is as I thought," he said. "I was afraid you'd say that," I said. "It usually means I did all the legwork just to confirm what you already knew." "You did not confirm," Wolfe said. "You completed." "I'll take that," I said. The bell rang. Wolfe didn't move. "Archie?" "On it," I said. The first to arrive was Clara Vane. She came in composed, but only just. Her eyes went immediately to Wolfe. "You said it was urgent," she said. "It is," Wolfe said. "Sit." She did. Next came Julian Vane. He looked irritated, which is a luxury that doesn't last long in Wolfe's office. "This had better be necessary," he said. "It is," Wolfe said. "Sit." He did, though not happily. Adrian Sloane arrived third, exactly on time, which was his habit. He entered with the same controlled ease, took in the room, and chose his chair without asking. "Mr. Wolfe," he said. "I assume this is the culmination?" "It is the clarification," Wolfe said. Sloane inclined his head. "Of course." Mrs. Rourke came last. She entered quietly, acknowledged no one, and sat with the same composure she had shown in her own house. Wolfe looked at them all, one by one, and then at me. "Close the door, Archie." I did. The room settled. Wolfe began. "We are assembled," he said, "because a series of actions has been undertaken by one or more of you, resulting in the theft of certain documents, the manipulation of access, and the attempted coercion of Miss Vane to produce additional material. These actions have been justified to some extent by an appeal to truth. That justification is insufficient." Sloane watched him, attentive. Wolfe continued. "Let us dispose of the trivial first. The matter of the locked door." He glanced at Clara. "You were impressed by the presence of your key upon your desk when the door had been locked from the outside," he said. "You should not have been." Clara stiffened. "It was impossible." "No," Wolfe said. It was arranged. Mr. Sloane entered your office with the assistance of Mr. Hargrove, who provided access. He opened your safe. Whether by prior knowledge of the combination or by obtaining it through observation or persuasion is immaterial. He removed the letters. He then departed, locking the door behind him. Subsequently, Mr. Hargrove returned to your office, entered using the key, placed it upon your desk, and left, again locking the door. Clara stared. Julian shifted in his chair. "That is," Clara began. "Simple," Wolfe said. "As Mr. Sloane himself observed." Sloane did not deny it. Wolfe turned his attention to him. "Your purpose in this was not merely to obtain the letters, but to unsettle Miss Vane, to demonstrate that her control of her environment was illusory. This was a tactical error." Sloane's expression did not change. "Was it?" "Yes," Wolfe said, "because it revealed your method. You do not merely acquire facts. You arrange them to produce reactions. You stage events." Sloane inclined his head slightly. "And you object to that?" "I object to incompetence," Wolfe said, "and to presumption." A faint smile touched Sloane's mouth. "Which of those applies to me?" "Both," Wolfe said. The room tightened. Wolfe went on. "You possess the letters. Mrs. Rourke possesses the notebook. And Miss Vane knows the location of a third document, a memorandum which identifies the individual who instructed Mr. Rourke to pass false information in 1918. With all three, you intend to reconstruct a narrative which will exonerate Mr. Rourke and implicate Mr. Beving's grandfather." "That is correct," Sloane said. "And in doing so," Wolfe said, "you will destroy Mr. Beving's political career." "Yes," Sloane said. Wolfe nodded. "You justify this as the correction of a historical falsehood." "I do," Sloane said. Wolfe's gaze hardened. "You are wrong." That landed. Sloane's eyes sharpened. "In what way?" "In that you do not possess sufficient information to support your conclusion," Wolfe said. "You have constructed a narrative from incomplete data, and you have mistaken coherence for truth." Sloane leaned forward slightly. I have the letters. I have the notebook. The memorandum will confirm the source." "No," Wolfe said. "It will not." A silence followed. Clara spoke, her voice tight. "What do you mean?" Wolfe turned to her. "Miss Vane, you have assumed that the memorandum you know of contains the name of the individual who instructed Mr. Rourke. It does not." She stared at him. "It must." "It does not," Wolfe said. "It contains a summary of the operation, but the instruction itself was delivered orally. The name you seek is not in that document." Julian leaned forward. "Then where is it?" Wolfe looked at him. "In your possession." Julian froze. "That's ridiculous," he said. "No," Wolfe said. "It is inevitable. You have had access to your firm's acquisitions for years. You have reviewed materials before they were catalogued, before they were sold. And among those materials was a personal diary belonging to an intermediary, one who recorded the origin of the false intelligence passed through Mr. Rourke. You recognized its significance. You removed the relevant pages." Julian's face went pale. "That's true," Wolfe said. "You did not act from malice. You acted from caution. The implications of that information would have affected your firm, your clients, and your sister. You chose to contain it." Clara turned to him. "Julian?" He didn't answer. Sloane's gaze had shifted. For the first time, it wasn't controlled. Wolfe continued. "Mr. Sloane, you have pursued this matter under the assumption that Miss Vane held the key to the final identification. She does not. Mr. Vane does." Sloane looked at Julian. "Is that true?" Julian swallowed. I don't know what you're talking about." Wolfe's voice sharpened. "You will not prevaricate. The pages are in your private files, secured separately from your business records. You have reviewed them repeatedly." Julian's composure cracked. I had to, he said. You don't understand. I understand perfectly, Wolfe said. You feared the consequences. Clara's voice was barely steady. Julian, what pages? He looked at her, then away. The diary, he said. There was a diary. It named him. Named who? Sloane demanded. Julian hesitated. Wolfe spoke. Horace Beving, he said. The room went still. Sloane stared. Impossible. No, Wolfe said. Uncomfortable. Mrs. Rourke closed her eyes. Wolfe continued, his voice even. Mr. Beving did not merely know of the operation. He initiated it. He selected Mr. Rourke as the conduit, thus knowing that Rourke's position made him expendable. When the operation concluded, he allowed the accusation of treason to stand, preserving his own reputation at the cost of another man's. Sloane's composure faltered. That, if that is true. It is, Wolfe said, and it renders your entire construction unnecessary. The truth you sought to reveal is already established. You have merely approached it from the wrong direction. Clara stared at Julian. You knew. Julian's voice was hoarse. I suspected. I didn't want to believe it. And so you hid it, she said. Yes, he said. Sloane leaned back, the calculation returning but altered. Then the memorandum is irrelevant. Yes, Wolfe said, as are your methods. Sloane's eyes narrowed. Not entirely. No, Wolfe said. You have committed theft, coercion, and conspiracy. Those remain relevant. Sloane met his gaze. Are you proposing to pursue that? Wolfe's expression did not change. No, I am proposing to conclude this matter. He turned to Julian. You will produce the pages you removed, he said. They will be delivered to Mrs. Rourke. Julian hesitated, then nodded. Wolfe turned to Sloane. You will return the letters. Sloane held his gaze, then inclined his head. Very well. And you will cease your interventions, Wolfe said. This narrative will proceed without your arrangement. Sloane's mouth tightened, but he said nothing. Wolfe leaned back. It is done, he said. No one spoke. After a moment, Mrs. Rourke rose. My husband's name, she said quietly. It will be restored. Yes, Wolfe said, without the destruction of another for your satisfaction. She inclined her head. Aye, that is sufficient. She left. Clara stood next, looking at her brother with something that wasn't anger and wasn't forgiveness. We'll talk, she said. Julian nodded. They left together. Sloane remained a moment longer. You have altered the outcome, he said to Wolfe. Yes, Wolfe said. Not entirely to my disadvantage, Sloane said. No, Wolfe said, but not to your design. Sloane gave a small, rueful smile. That, I suppose, is your preference. It is, Wolfe said. Sloane inclined his head and left. The door closed. Silence returned. I looked at Wolfe. You knew about the diary. I inferred it, Wolfe said. From what? From the absence, Wolfe said. Mr. Sloane's certainty required a source. Miss Vane did not possess it. Therefore, someone else did. And Julian fit, I said. He did, Wolfe said. I nodded. I am the door? A trifle, Wolfe said. I grinned. Not to Clara. No, Wolfe said. But then she required instruction. I went to the drawer and got the beer. Wolfe did not object. So, I said, we've got truth, justice, and no arrests. Not bad. Wolfe closed his eyes. Archie, he said, truth is rarely just, and justice is rarely true. We have achieved a tolerable arrangement. I raised the bottle. I'll drink to tolerable. Wolfe did not respond, but he didn't object either. Dinner was served at 7:30, as it always is when the world has been put back into something Wolfe considers acceptable. Fritz had outdone himself, which he tends to do when Wolfe has had to exert his mind more than usual. There was duck, properly done, and a sauce that suggested forgiveness might be possible in other contexts. Wolfe ate without speaking for the first 10 minutes. That was not unusual. What was unusual was that I didn't interrupt him. The case had settled, but not quietly. It had edges, and I was still running my fingers along them. Finally, I said, "You let Sloane walk." Wolfe did not look up. I did not restrain him. "You could have," I said. "You had him on theft, coercion, conspiracy, and a flair for interior decoration." Wolfe cut his duck with precision. Mr. Sloane's actions, while objectionable, served to expose a truth that had been concealed for 2 decades. The law is not always improved by its application. "That's a nice way of saying you chose not to bother," I said. Wolfe chewed, swallowed, and took a sip of wine. "Archie, the purpose of this exercise was not to punish Mr. Sloane. It was to resolve a set of distortions. Well, that has been accomplished. By rearranging who gets hurt," I said. "By limiting it," Wolfe corrected. I considered that. Mrs. Rourke gets her husband's name cleared. Clara keeps her business intact. Julian gets to keep his conscience, assuming he can find it. And Beving. Mr. Beving inherits the consequences of his grandfather's actions, Wolfe said. As he must. That's a political death sentence, I said. It is a moral one, Wolfe said. The political consequence is incidental. Not to him, I said. Wolfe set down his fork. You are suggesting that we should have concealed the truth to preserve a candidacy. I'm suggesting it wasn't our call, I said. It became our call when we were engaged, Wolfe said. I let that sit. He wasn't wrong. He just wasn't comfortable. Julian, I said. Okay, he sat on that diary for years. Yes, Wolfe said. Why not expose him? I said. For what? Wolfe said. For caution? For fear? Those are not crimes. They are human. He let his sister walk into Sloane's trap, I said. He did not anticipate it, Wolfe said. Nor did he intend it. Intent doesn't fix damage, I said. No, Wolfe said, but it informs judgment. I took a drink. You're in a forgiving mood. I'm in a practical one, Wolfe said. Mr. Vane's error has been corrected. His future conduct will be influenced accordingly. You mean he'll think twice before hiding something that big, I said. I mean he will think, Wolfe said. That is sufficient. We ate in silence for a while. The duck deserved it. After a few minutes I said, Clara. Wolfe's eyes flicked up briefly. Yes. She came in thinking she was being outmaneuvered, I said. Turns out she was being protected and threatened at the same time. She was being instructed, Wolfe said. In what? I said. In the limits of control, Wolfe said. She believed her environment was secure. It was not. She believed she possessed knowledge. She did not. She believed she could manage both. She could not. And now, I said. Now she knows better, Wolfe said. That's a rough lesson, I said. The effective ones are, Wolfe said. I leaned back. And Sloane? Wolfe's expression shifted slightly. Not approval, not disapproval. Recognition. Mr. Sloane is an intelligent man with a defective premise, Wolfe said. He believes that truth can be constructed through arrangement. That is incorrect. He got close, I said. He got fortunate, Wolfe said. There is a difference. He also got away with it, I said. For the moment, Wolfe said. I raised an eyebrow. You think he'll come back? I think he will continue to operate, Wolfe said. Whether he intersects with us again is uncertain. Whether he learns from this is also uncertain. And if he doesn't, I said. Wolfe picked up his fork again. Then he will make a more serious error. I smiled slightly. And you'll be here when he does. I'm always here, Wolfe said. That was true enough. Fritz came in with coffee. Wolfe accepted his with the same gravity he gave to everything else. I took mine black. We sat for a moment, the case settling into memory. I said, the door. Wolfe sighed faintly. Must we? Yeah, I said. I like to close things properly. Wolfe set his cup down. Very well. Now the door was locked from the outside by Mr. Sloane. The key was returned to the interior by Mr. Hargrove, acting under instruction. The illusion of impossibility was created by separating the actions in time and by exploiting Miss Vane's assumptions regarding access. Simple, I said. Yes, Wolfe said. Which is why it was effective. People expect tricks, I said. They expect complexity, Wolfe said. They overlook the obvious. I nodded. And the obvious was that someone else had a key and a reason. Precisely, Wolfe said. I took a sip of coffee. You know, if Sloane had just taken the letters and left, Clara might never have known how. Which would have deprived him of leverage, Wolfe said. Right, I said. He needed her to feel it. He needed her to respond, Wolfe said. And she did, I said. She came to us. Yes, Wolfe said. I grinned, which was his mistake. One of them, Wolfe said. I stood and stretched. Not bad for a week's work. No bodies, no police, and only one historical scandal. Wolfe closed his eyes. Archie. Yeah? Your standards are deplorable, he said. I laughed. They get the job done. Wolfe did not respond. I went to the window and looked out at the street. The city had moved on, as it always does. The case would settle into papers and quiet conversations, into reputations adjusted and names restored or damaged. Behind me, Wolfe said, Archie. I turned. Yeah? Human beings, he said, have an unfortunate tendency to confuse possession with understanding. They acquire facts and believe they own them. They do not. Facts persist independently. It is the interpretation that corrupts. I nodded. And Sloane? Possesses facts, Wolfe said, but does not understand them. And us, I said. Wolfe opened his eyes. We understand enough. I considered that, then picked up my hat. Good enough for me, I said. Ooh. Wolfe reached for his coffee. Phooey, he said, but without heat. I left him there in his chair, with his orchids upstairs and his world restored to order, more or less. And if it wasn't perfect, it was, at least, as he had said, tolerable. Which, in our line of work, passes for a happy ending. The next morning arrived with the kind of quiet that means something has already happened. I knew it before I reached the office door, and when I opened it, Wolfe confirmed it without looking up. Archie, he said, coffee. That meant he had been thinking, which meant something had shifted. I poured, handed him the cup, and took my seat. What happened? Mr. Vane has delivered the pages? Wolfe said. Already, I said. Yes, Wolfe said. At 8:30. He was a punctual, which suggests urgency rather than efficiency. And, I said. Wolfe lifted his cup, inhaled, and set it down again. They confirmed the conclusion. The intermediary's diary explicitly names Horace Beving as the originator of the instruction. It also clarifies the purpose. Which was, I said. To misdirect not only the enemy, Wolfe said, but certain elements within his own government. It was a layered deception. And Rourke, I said, was selected because he could be sacrificed without consequence, Wolfe said. I nodded. Except to his wife. Yes, Wolfe said. I leaned back. So it's done. No, Wolfe said. It is resolved. That is not the same. I waited. The distinction, Wolfe said, lies in what follows. The bell rang. I went. It was Mrs. Rourke. She entered without ceremony, which was new. Not careless, just decided. I have received the pages, she said. Wolfe inclined his head. As expected. They are authentic, she said. There is no doubt. No, Wolfe said. She stood for a moment as if measuring something internal. My husband, she said, was innocent. Yes, Wolfe said. And Horace Bevan, she said, was responsible. Yes. She let that settle. Then she said, what happens now? Wolfe regarded her. That depends on you. She frowned slightly. On me. You possess the complete truth, Wolfe said. The letters, the notebook, and the diary pages. You may publish them, suppress them, or distribute them selectively. Each choice has consequences. And you? She said. What do you advise? Wolfe did not answer immediately. When he did, his voice was quieter. I advise restraint, he said. She looked at him sharply. Restraint? Yes, Wolfe said. Your husband's name has been restored. To you, to those who will examine the evidence, public exposure will achieve little beyond the destruction of a man who did not commit the act. His grandfather did, she said. Yes, Wolfe said, and is dead. She held his gaze. Matthew Bevan benefits from that legacy. He also inherits its burden, Wolfe said. That is not justice, she said. No, Wolfe said. It is reality. She turned away, walked a few steps, then back again. For 20 years, she said, I have lived with a lie. You're asking me to allow another to persist. I am asking you to consider the cost of correction, Wolfe said. Justice is not arithmetic. It is judgment. She was silent for a long moment. Finally, she said, if I do nothing, my husband remains publicly condemned. No, Wolfe said. He remains publicly unexamined. There is a difference. And privately, she said. Privately, Wolfe said, he is vindicated. She closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, something had settled. I will not publish, she said. Not yet. Wolfe nodded. A wise decision. I will provide the documents to a historian, she said. One who will examine them carefully, without spectacle. Better, Wolfe said. She inclined her head. Thank you. She turned to leave, then paused. Mr. Wolfe, she said, you have changed the outcome. Yes, Wolfe said. Not as I expected, she said. Expectations are frequently misplaced, Wolfe said. She gave a faint, an almost reluctant smile, and left. I closed the door and turned back. Well, I said, that's one way to end it. It is the correct way, Wolfe said. For her, I said. For the matter, Wolfe said. The bell rang again. This time it was Clara Vane. She came in briskly, but there was a difference. The edge was still there, but it had direction now. My brother has told me everything, she said. Wolfe nodded. As he should. She looked at me briefly, then back to Wolfe. The pages, the diary, all of it. Yes, Wolfe said. She exhaled. I misjudged him. You misjudged the situation, Wolfe said. Mr. Vane contributed. That's generous, she said. It is accurate, Wolfe said. She paced once, then stopped. What about Sloane? He has returned the letters, Wolfe said. She blinked. Just like that? No, Wolfe said. Not just like that, as he has adjusted his position. Meaning? She said. Meaning he has recognized the limits of his design, Wolfe said. She frowned. He won't stop. No, Wolfe said, but he will proceed differently. She considered that. And us? You will proceed with greater caution, Wolfe said, and less assumption. She gave a short laugh. That's a lesson I won't forget. See that you do not, Wolfe said. She nodded. I will. She turned to go, then looked back. Mr. Wolfe, she said, why did you take the case? Wolfe regarded her. Because, he said, you were wrong. She smiled slightly. About the door? About control, Wolfe said. She held that for a second, then nodded and left. I closed the door again. Well, I said, everyone's educated, no one's arrested, and history gets a footnote instead of a headline. A correction, Wolfe said. Quietly, I said. Yes, Wolfe said. I sat down. And Sloane? Wolfe closed his eyes. Will continue to arrange facts until he encounters one he cannot. Which will be, I said. Uncertain, Wolfe said, but inevitable. I nodded. And us? Wolfe opened his eyes. We will remain available. I grinned. Good. I like being available. Wolfe snorted. Phooey. I leaned back, letting it settle. The door that locked from the outside had turned out not to be a trick at all. Just a message, placed carefully where it would be noticed. And like most messages, it said less about how it was done than about why. Wolfe picked up his book. Archie, he said. Yeah. Lunch at 1, he said. Of course, I said. The brown stone was quiet again, not perfectly, but close enough.